Hello everybody and welcome to the beautiful city of Lisbon, the capital of Portugal and the second oldest city in Europe after Athens. In this video, we're going to explore some of the top things to do and see, so come along and join us. Now, one of the most iconic sites in Lisbon is obviously the yellow trams, and they actually aren't Portuguese, they are Americans. The locals call them the Americanos, but they are so popular, especially for photographs, because they look so nice. The funicular one that goes up and down the hill here is actually my favorite. I think it just looks beautiful. But to ride it, it costs €4.20, and you need to have the exact amount. So we were going to do this, but I don't think we have the exact cash, unfortunately. So I think we're just going to get photos instead. A fun fact about Lisbon is that it's home to the oldest operating bookshop in the world. It even has the Guinness World Record title to prove it. By the way, they do have an English section, so if you want to purchase a book as a souvenir from the oldest bookshop in the world, you can. This is a really beautiful square. It's just outside the Church of No Roof, which is a famous attraction here in Lisbon. You're going to hear a lot on this vlog that a lot of attractions and things to do here revolve around things that were either destroyed or not destroyed during the 1755 earthquake, which pretty much decimated Lisbon. Over 40,000 people died and over 8% of the whole city was destroyed, including the royal residence that was down by the waterfront. So essentially Lisbon had to restart again, and there's not much remaining that was here before the earthquake. But the church without a roof is remaining.
Now, if you're wondering how an earthquake can be so destructive, that's because it was a culmination of a lot of destructive things all happening at once. First was the earthquake, then came a fire. I believe there was some really bad wind, so it turned into like a firestorm. And then ultimately, just to put the icing on the cake, it was a tsunami. Goodness me.
We're having a little coffee break in a place called The Coffee, and it was rated 4.9 online, and the review said it was the best coffee place in Lisbon, so I had to check it out. Guys, look at my coffee, the proper barista art. That's like a little teddy dog, I don't know, but 10 out of 10 for me. We went for the nutty coffee, so this was coffee with a bit of hazelnut in, so I'm interested. That is delicious. That's really good. Yeah, I can see why this is 4.9. This is a place to come if you like coffee and like to experiment with your coffee too.
Now, if you get sick of all of these hills and all of these stairs, there are alternative ways to get around. We found that Uber and Bolt are very cheap ways to get around in Portugal and Lisbon. Also, they have private tuk-tuks you can take, or other means of transport such as the trams, there's metros and the funicular.
In Bairro Alto, there's a beautiful little park with a great vantage point of the city, and you can even see out to the river. There's definitely a great atmosphere and vibe up here right now with the June festivities, and we have some local musicians, so that just adds to the atmosphere. One of my favorite things about exploring European cities is just finding those buskers and they're just playing some beautiful, incredible music, and it just turns the whole atmosphere around. And by the way, this place here has a fantastic view of the castle, which you can see over there in the background on the hill, and that is the highest viewpoint of Lisbon. So if you want to get an amazing view, go up to that castle.
Another fantastic thing to do here in Lisbon is to come up to the Castelo do São Jorge, or Jorge, and see this amazing view. We can see all the way down to the plaza, the main plaza here in Lisbon. Over the city, we can see the statue, the sanctuary of Christ the King, as well as this bridge as well. 26th of April, the bridge is called after the date where they overthrew their dictator. What a fantastic view. This place is covered in peacocks as well, which is quite fun. They're just all in the trees and walking around. Now, being quite high up here, we need to get down somehow, and what better way to do that than to take an elevator?
So the lift connects you from the top down to the bottom. This is an easier way to get around Lisbon rather than going through all of the stairs and narrow passageways. I just saw though that the lift costs €6.10. I thought it was probably going to be free or maybe like 50 cents or something. I can't believe they're charging €6 just to go on a lift that takes you just down a couple of levels. That's insane.
We decided we're going to be snobs and not take the lift.
We didn't actually know, like, it seems to be the same with the funicular. You're just kind of waiting around and it's not just going. So we're just waiting there for 5 minutes and the lift was nowhere in sight. So I'm not sure if it's like every so often or they wait until it's full before they bring it up or down. but it's actually only a 10-minute walk to get down to the waterfront, so we thought we'd just walk.
That's all downhill anyway.
So as you can see behind me is the walkway towards the lift. Now the lift is quite beautiful, but if you want to save yourself €6 and a bit of a Lisbon hack, just go into the shopping centre and have a nice air-conditioned lift instead, for free.
These lifts are free. So the suburb of Chiado seems like a fantastic place to come for shopping. It is just streets and streets lined with shops. You've got all your mainstays, you've got Swarovski, Pull&Bear, all the main ones, as well as a few little independent boutique stores and stuff as well. Definitely spend an afternoon here wandering around in the nice, cool, air-conditioned shops.
We are now in the neighbourhood of Baixa, and as you can see, it's nice and flat here, so it's a bit easier to get around. And this street here actually leads directly to the largest square in Lisbon. This square is absolutely gorgeous, and as you can see, it is massive, the biggest here in Lisbon, and it's one of the largest in Portugal as well. A lot of the squares that were created around Lisbon were actually because of the 1755 earthquake. Because so much of it was flattened, they decided just to pop a square up. And I guess this area probably one time wasn't like this, but now it's this big, beautiful open area leading right to the riverfront. And now we're getting a view of the iconic Lisbon Bridge, influenced by the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. And up on the hill, you have Sanctuary of Christ the King, inspired by Christ Redeemer in Rio. I've just spotted a cruise ship. Now, Lisbon is a known hub for cruising. A lot of the major cruise liner itineraries start from here, and that's probably why it seems a little busy when you come here too. I've noticed after going around Europe for the past few weeks, I'm feeling like Lisbon is particularly busy, and I guess because of the cruise, they have a lot of people disembarking, and obviously that increases the tourism numbers. But this area all along here is lovely. It's very busy, but it's very open, so it feels like you do have a bit of space to breathe.
I didn't actually realise, but down on the Tagus River, there's like little sandy sections.
Mini beaches.
Yeah, there's some people down here building sandcastles, and there's all these little cute sheets as well, which I think is just really, really pretty. A lot of people just coming down and sitting here, having little chats with each other, maybe having a little ice cream or something. It's really quite cute. Very pretty, very open, and you've got a nice breeze. That's nice.
Now, if you're looking for the perfect accommodation in Lisbon, then look no further, because we have found the perfect home from home here in the suburb of Baixa, and this is Baixa House. It is a gorgeous open plan living area. We are staying in a 1-bedroom little apartment here on the top floors. We have a beautiful view looking down onto the streets of Lisbon. We have a kitchen, we have gorgeous balconies, we have a beautiful bed and a gorgeous bathroom. So this is where we're going to be staying during our Lisbon stay, and they even provide breakfast, so that's all sorted for us. So if you're really looking for that authentic Lisbon experience, then look at this. I feel like I'm a local here, living in my apartment, looking around the streets of Lisbon. We absolutely love it here. We'll link it in the description below, or scan the QR code for a link to this apartment. The cruise ship actually docks right opposite the oldest neighbourhood in Lisbon, which is Alfama, and it is the oldest because it actually survived the earthquake. It's the only area in Lisbon city that actually survived, and it also has the Lisbon Cathedral.
We're going to go and see the cathedral, but first we're going to try and find something to eat. Now, without being too cheeky and pointing my camera in everywhere, it definitely seems like these buildings are older. They seem kind of like little cave dwellings. You see a lot of them getting renovated, people painting the interiors and fitting out restaurants and houses and things. A little tip, if you're looking for food and you're in Alfama, you're around the cathedral, there's some restaurants which are like sitting right next to the cathedral. They've got seating underneath shade. Very, very pretty, very beautiful locations, and it seems like decent food as well. One of them was a tapas restaurant, so you can get your Spanish tapas here in Lisbon. Italian restaurant, and little like breakfast restaurants too.
That's on the way here too. I didn't realise tram 28 is the most popular tram. That's the one to get on. But I did read that you could get pickpocketed on there. I'm not sure how true it is. I guess because if it's very busy and close encounters, it's easy to slip in. But it does look fun.
Now we have managed to secure ourselves a table right underneath a tree, which is beautiful. We're on the intersection actually, right near the cathedral. And it is a hustling, bustling little spot. All the tuk-tuks keep coming past. This is actually a tram line. Tram 28 runs up here. So I think if you wanted to see a lot of the highlights, tram 28 is a great option because you can kind of just jump on it and see all the sights along the way. Though I've heard some people also say that it does get a bit boring because it's like a slow way of getting around. But there you go, there's another one en route to see more of the sights around Lisbon City. Okay, we've come to a recommended viewpoint now. This is the Miradouro of Santa Luzia, and
it's supposed to be one of the best views in Lisbon, but actually I think the area, the viewpoint that we found earlier on today was much nicer.
Yeah.
They have these gorgeous pink flowers here, but the view itself is kind of looking down onto the cruise ship area and the river. And I presume maybe this used to have like water in it. Would have been very pretty maybe if that was running. But I feel like the view that we found earlier was much better.
Here we go, now we're in business.
We'll go this way.
Forget everything we just said.
I think like the lookout is kind of like staggered. You see a little bit more that way from up here. Very busy though.
Okay, so this is the recommended spot. This is the Miradouro dos Portas do Sol, and it's a lot more open up here. You can see a lot more. You've actually got amazing views to some of the big, beautiful buildings out here. There's also a terrace up here, which you can access from the Santa Luzia Miradouro. But there's also a little spot over here as well where you can get some drinks, a little nice bite to eat, like one of those little kiosks. This is much better.
Guys, we probably mentioned this in our Barcelona vlog. I think any capital city you go to in Europe, you're at risk of getting a few scams, and we keep seeing it up here, unfortunately. If somebody asks you or they grab your hand and put a bracelet on there saying, do you want some bling bling bracelet? Say no, or if you say yes, expect to pay quite a few euros. I've just seen someone hand over a note because they had the bracelet, it was very awkward, and then the person pocketed it and they wouldn't give them the change back. We've just seen someone give them over 20 euros because they took a couple of bracelets for their kids, and that was 20 euros for probably like a 50-cent bracelet they just shoved on to keep the kids happy, and it was too awkward then to kind of like say no. If you try and say no, they'll argue it or they'll walk away or they'll try and play it off as fun. It's a big scam around here. We just ignore or say no. Here's your money, spend it how you want to, but be careful because there's a lot of scammers around.
Just a quick observation, if you are doing a tour in one of these tuk-tuks or one of these old school cars that is like basically a golf buggy with remodeled chassis, yeah, they do get stuck in Alfama, it seems. Like they're so busy, the streets are so narrow, so because the trams come up here, they're stopping all the time. Just like traffic jams constantly. It's quite full on, especially like after lunch in the afternoons. It gets very busy up here.
We were just able to pop inside the cathedral. We thought we were going to have to pay, but they allowed us just to go in, and I think that was because there was a wedding happening, so most of it was closed, but you could just see the wedding, which was wild. But the cathedral itself is beautiful inside, and definitely take a visit. This building is probably one of the oldest buildings around Lisbon. Construction started here in 1147, which is wild. It's so long ago.
We've come down to the other side of the bridge now, and we are about to jump on a boat tour. We've got 2 hours to cruise along and see some of the sights by the water. We are right by the Belém Tower, which unfortunately has a lot of scaffolding on it at the moment, but we're going on a guided tour along the river. So we're going to see many different things, including the statue. Is that a statue, bro? Including the Sanctuary of Christ the King statue.
So we have booked a small group tour via Get Your Guide. I think it's like only a few people on this tour. It might just be us, it might be other people. It's not private, but it's just for small groups only. Hi.
How are you?
And Charlotte.
Charlotte Jacobson.
We can see some of the other boat trips departing, and this one here is actually a vehicle that drives on the road and it also goes in the ocean. It looks very exciting. Okay, we have set off. We are on board and we have got prime position right at the front of the boat. Get in. We've got our sail now. This is our main sail, so we've got a bit of a tilt to the boat, which makes it all that little more exciting. And we're heading towards the mouth of the river. Who knows what we're going to find.
We have a different view now of the tower. Still construction on it, but it's a really beautiful building. We're going under the bridge now, and oh my god, it's actually so loud. You can hear like a really loud humming noise.
It sounds like a beehive.
Like a huge beehive, and it's the cars going past. You can probably hear it. Yeah, we are now just passing the big plaza in Lisbon, the biggest plaza that we were at yesterday. And it's so nice to see all of these Lisbon attractions, but from the river. Whee! We're getting some of these big waves now from the big boats that went past. We're going past the iconic landmark now. That is the Lisbon version of Christ the Redeemer. I forget its very long name. Sanctuary of our Christ the King. Yeah. And it's amazing to see up close. And when you go over here, you realize that there's actually quite a nice little park, and they even have an elevator that goes up the cliffs, up to the top.
Look at that for a view. It's actually so beautiful in the afternoon light. There's got that side light just coming in and accentuating all the shapes. It's just beautiful. You can go up there as well.
See people up there.
We went up there years ago, and there's a car park at the top, but you can also actually go up inside it and then get out to the platform just below where Christ the King is standing. This is just a beautiful afternoon experience. You don't realize how big this river is until you're on it and you've been across it a couple of times. It's massive. Have you had a good time?
I have had a good time. We're coming to the end of our 2-hour sail now, just making our way back into the little marina. But yeah, it's been good. The wind's picked up. We happen to be at the windiest time of day. From now on, it'll be starting to settle.
But it's been a nice breeze. It was really, really hot today, and it's just cooled us down nicely.
But it's a really nice experience. Definitely recommend some kind of river excursion if you're in Lisbon. I think that it's such an iconic part of Lisbon, especially seeing the bridge. That was amazing to see up close. We have now come for lunch in Baixa, and actually Baixa as a whole is full of restaurants, cafes, boutique stores, souvenir shops, lots of tourists around, and the trams are constantly going through, so it's a really nice place just to people watch. This little cafe is called Hygge. I think it's a Danish word, and we're just having some fresh juice. We've got some brunch on the way. Little seat here in the window so we can people watch too. We're having a quick walk through the famous Pink Street, which you can see behind me. They have all the umbrellas. This place became super popular on Instagram. There's just a couple of bars there, so it's kind of a bit random, but it does look pretty. People are taking photos, and the pink road, the path, actually leads quite a while around under this bridge. We're going to see where it leads to. It doesn't lead anywhere. It just follows along to the end of the road, but it's quite pretty. We have come to the Time Out Market here in Lisbon. Time Out Market, if you haven't heard of them or been to them before, essentially it's like a huge hall where there's loads of different eateries and you can order from different places. And then if you have a group of friends, you can all have different food but come together to eat it. It's kind of a cool concept if you're with a bunch of friends or family. It's not my kind of thing. I'd rather go and find like individual restaurants, and I find it quite, I know, overwhelming sometimes if they're super busy. But if you come outside of the busy periods, it can be much calmer. But it's always like recommended things to do. And if this is your kind of vibe, it's definitely something you'd want to check out.
It's a little bit cooler in here as well, so it's actually quite a good place to come when it's like really, really hot outside and you don't want to be in the sun. Great place to come, get a bit of shade. But yeah, if you're just looking for somewhere to hang out and you like this kind of busy atmosphere where it's all happening and there's a lot of people around, then great. If you don't like that kind of busy, overwhelming sensory overload, don't come here. Now, one of the most popular things to do here in Lisbon is to get on the beautiful Tagus River and explore the city from the water. Now, there's multiple ways to do that. You can get on a private boat tour, you can do sailing, you can do party boats, all that kind of stuff. But if you want the cheapest way to get on the river and get that perspective, just down here at the bottom of Chiado, you can jump on the public transport and it costs about €2.80. You get to go across the river and then come back, and that's a beautiful way to get all of those views on the river without paying above and beyond what you need to. Now, if you're lucky enough to visit Lisbon during the month of June, you're going to find there's a whole lot of celebrations all over the city. This is the month of celebration of popular saints, and every little square that you come across are going to have all of these colourful decorations. There'll be food and music all throughout the day, right into the late evening, and I'm sure you'll have a very entertaining time and maybe not a lot of sleep depending on where you stay. We are down at the waterfront here and we have some beautiful festive vibes. It's part of the popular saints celebrations going on. This is another location, one of many around the city. There's these little huts with food and drinks and souvenirs, and they have music going on. Usually around 5-7 p.m. there'll be performances down here, and all of the little places around Lisbon as well. So it's such a great time to be here in June. We're just loving it. We've got some healthy stuff as well. It's not only sangrias and margaritas and all the kind of alcoholic stuff. There's some healthy stuff too, which is great. Seems like down at the riverside is another very popular spot. Actually, a really nice spot to come down and watch the sunset. As you can see, you've got all the landmarks here. You've got the monuments, you've got the big bridge, and you've got the sanctuary of King the Christ statue as well. It's stunning, and you can just watch the boats go past. There's some nighttime cruises, sunset cruises. They've got lights on them. It's just very pretty, very magical.